On this episode of Behind the Strength, we sit down with Miss Pooja Pillai, managing partner and head of school, a Columbia University alumna, a passionate educator and a dedicated mother. From transforming classrooms to nurturing curiosities, Pooja's journey is one of purpose, balance and unwavering belief in the power of meaningful transformation. Welcome to Behind the Strength, Pooja.
Thank you so much for having me.
Your journey in education spans continents and classroom. But where did it all begin for you? What drew you to the path of education?
So it's a really special story because right since I was a very young girl, I loved imaginative play and, pretending to be a teacher. And I remember that one of my best friends told me, you're already in 8th grade and you're still, pretending to be a teacher and playing these games. We're old enough. And that's when I realized, no, I still really love this. And I spent a lot of time teaching children in my community, my helper's son, my gardener's daughter, my friends at school. And then when I went ahead for a career aptitude test in my college days, I remember them telling me that in terms of aptitude, it'll be great for me to be in a profession that involves people, something that's service, hospitality, education, teaching. And that's when that sort of reaffirmed that belief that my aptitude also sort of goes well with this profession.
Absolutely.
And further then, when it was time to really choose a career, my parents told me, why are you looking at that MBA, that human resource management or a psychology job? We've always seen you love teaching, love children, then why don't you just follow your passion? And at that point I thought, but what about the money? I don't know if, the teaching profession pays that much. And I remember my dad telling me that if you love what you do and if you're really good at it, you can definitely be very successful at it. And that's it. That was it for me, where I decided that I want to be in the education field, but I definitely want to be leading education, to be making a difference, not just in being a teacher, but, at a larger scale. And that's, I'm very blessed to have a profession that has been a childhood passion and, being to do what you love so that you never have to work a day in your life.
It's been your calling and the pretend play actually turned into your reality for life.
It has.
So, yeah. Your time at Teachers College, Columbia University, must have been very transforming. What core values or lessons do you carry with you from that time?
I think after having studied in the Indian education system, going to Columbia University was a huge mindset change. It opened my mind to the world of education, around in different countries. And I realized that there's so much potential in what we can do in India as well. I was one of 20 students. I was the only Indian student in a class of all other international students, a lot of them from America. I think the biggest gains I had was understanding it from a whole school larger perspective, understanding how you can make a difference in the classroom, a lot of exposure into curriculum design, a lot of exposure into the best practices around the world, which I had never ever seen back in India. And that was just the beginning of when international education was coming to India. So I was, I think, one of the first few to be getting that exposure and bringing that back into IB classrooms, sort of made it a very natural transition to be a part of the international education sort of movement in India.
Correct. That actually kind of makes sense with how you have also, developed the entire curriculum and even been a part of the faculty at Toddler's Den. And now the managing partner. So, you're responsible for both the soul and the system. How do you lead with empathy, while managing the weight of being the person who's at the executional helm?
I think in a leadership position, if you've started right at the ground level, you've seen it through. So I think my journey started with being a teacher in a classroom, then beginning to train teachers in subjects that I was passionate about. And then coming to the head of school role that came to me, 7 years ago. But I've definitely had that innate interest in understanding people, caring for teachers. It's something that I always wanted to do. I started with a very small team and I've seen them grow through that. So I think the first 3 3-4 years of leadership, it was a lot about being in the classroom, you know, strengthening the systems, strengthening the policies, the strategies that teachers use.
Correct.
And then after having my daughter is when I moved into the partnership role, and that has been the perfect, you know, shift for me, because that's when I was looking to sort of make a further difference in the work that I do. And now it's once the systems are set, it's so much easier to sort of now look at the business angle, look at, you know, what more we can do and how we can sort of make the school grow bigger and better. But, I think I've always had a very keen interest in understanding teachers, supporting them. It's a fully women-based organization. So I think bringing strength from home, I enjoy being their anchor and their support system, irrespective of my business goals. You know, that's priority.
No, I've seen that firsthand. I mean, I have seen you being there first thing in the morning and like always on your toes, making sure that everything is going as much as possible humanly in perfect order, while maintaining that, you know, I've seen the affection towards the children as well. It's not taken away from that. What does a truly meaningful educational experience look like to you beyond academics in a wholesome way?
I think at Toddler's Den, for example, we say that if children don't want to go back home, then that means we've done our job. We've seen children say, no, we still want to stay here longer. And that's really what our sort of measure of success is at school. I think education for us, being a preschool, is definitely way beyond academics. It's about educating the whole child, understanding the emotional, mental, physical aspects of the child. If we see children just being themselves in the classroom, enjoying what they are doing, irrespective of what it is, I think we know that, you know, they find meaning in what they do, and we know that they're having a good time.
As a mother and an educator, do the two roles for you merge, or do they mirror each other? How does it work?
The two roles are very, very different, and that's something I realized after being a mother. I've had so many mothers at school tell me that, you know, you're an educator, you're a head of school, that means you must be just the perfect mother. But, I wonder, there is no perfect mother, and I know that, you know, being a mother is absolutely different. Yes, some aspects of understanding children, I can use those as a mother, but the experience of being your child's spiritual guide 24/7, for having, you know, dealing with everything from their food, sleep, their understanding of the world around them, goes much, much beyond than leading a school. So I think the motherhood experience, I would say, has been a much, much bigger learning experience than even all that I've learned as an educator.
But it's made you more empathetic towards children, because you do understand now the emotion which is attached.
Yeah.
But so that does help.
Empathetic towards the adults as well, understanding what they go through every day and why for them their child is their whole world, and
That's
for us,
true.
you know, we have 100 students sitting right there, and so understanding each child as somebody's world and then what really they want, I think that's been also one of the biggest learning experiences as a mother.
Has it changed, you know, your perspective on how you approach a parent? You know, motherhood for you personally, has it changed that approach towards other parents? Yes, but even how you know, would probably reach out to them a little more empathetically.
I think, you know, the first few years I knew children very well, I knew education very well, and I would be able to support them in understanding what we do and why we do it. But now I speak as just another mother in the room, and they also know and trust that so much more, having to see that, you know, I'm also going through the same thing as them.
Yes.
So now every problem is approached as much more as just another mother, and I think parents also are so much more open to and feel more comfortable understanding what they are saying. I feel that, you know, I can sort of make them feel comfortable much quicker.
You relate to them as they do with you as well.
Yeah.
What do you think that schools can do to kind of support new mums, the working in their faculty or heading leadership roles, also in the parent community? How can schools support mums?
I think one of the best things that I experienced was to be given the flexibility by my partners when it was time for me to return back to work. Let me tell you a backstory a little bit for that. In fact, when Freya was 3 months old, I thought that I'm really enjoying motherhood and I never want to go back to work. I just, you know, want to take care of my health and want to just feel myself again, and maybe I'll think about it later. And just 6-7 months down the line, when Freya was a little older, I thought, I don't know who I am now, and I feel a new sense of identity. And when I started thinking about my identity, I thought that no, my career is a huge part of my identity. I have to go back to work because that's a huge part of what I do, what I love, and I want my daughter to also experience that and know that. So at that point, my parents, my family was my support system that said, we'll take care of her, you must go back to work and we are here to support you. And that's what a mom who wants to go back to work needs, the support from the family, but also the support from the workspace, right? So just having that flexibility and trust, I think my founders, my team members gave me that, saying they knew I was there when they needed me, but maybe I couldn't be there full time to start with. And just a few months in, it gave me the confidence. Once I learned to balance work and family life, I was able to get back full time. So coming back to your question, I think when moms also want to get back to work, there are opportunities for moms to sort of begin part-time, even begin with flexible hours. If we could provide that, also being largely a women-based organization, I think we have that sensitivity. We also do provide some space at school for moms to have their children wait back at school. We don't have a formal daycare, but I've had teachers who've had their children stay back all day with us, and we try to give that support, some flexibility to make sure that until the age of 2 or 3 they are supported, and then of course they could also join our school. So I think that if an education system, an education based company gives that, it's comforting, and it's the easiest place to sort of start
precisely. You've worked closely with children with varied learning needs. What has that taught you about the strength of adaptability, when it comes to teaching? So how does that work for you? I mean, every child is different.
I think reflection, every single day reflecting on your child's behavior, your classroom, is a really huge part of our practices. So we truly believe, as you said, that every single child is different. So we come back and we discuss as a community, getting different perspectives. You as a teacher might observe someone, but also just coming back and talking to other experts in your team, or also getting the right people on board to understand these differences, continuously training yourself to be able to adapt to these differences is really important. There's no perfect answer, and I think in the first 5 years we're also observing so much of how children change. We need that time and that trust with the parents as well to say, hey, this is what we're trying, let's do this together. And that's how we get to know the child more and get to the right answer as to what really is working for them and what's not. And that's the constant adaptability that teachers
but that's
need.
what actually helps. It's just working with the parents together rather than isolated, because there are going to be a few hours where the child is going to be at school, and then the child is going to be at home. As they say, maximum learning comes from home.
Absolutely, yes.
So if the parent and the teacher are always, in sync with each other, it kind of benefits the child as well. Can you share a story where a small change in teaching made a big difference?
We've had a child who benefited a lot more with one-on-one support. With a lot of children we see that, where typically in the traditional system we want children to just fit into the classroom, and you just have to do what the other 19 children are doing as the 20th child in the classroom. But our approach has always been a little different, where we would say that no, you need to step out and you need a lot more one-on-one support. So I think relationship building, one-on-one support has been key, where we would step out, really try to understand what's going on with the child, what's going on back at home with the family, have that conversation with the child, and really work with them one-on-one until we feel that they are ready again to join the small group. So it's a lot of close connection and relationships with the child before they can get back into the classroom.
You're deeply committed as a teacher. What shifts have you seen in the classroom when teachers feel truly empowered and secure?
They can do magic. I would say the classroom becomes a place of strength, magic, and success. And that's something that we do as a team, constantly supporting each other, helping each other, because there is not one teacher can't really solve all of her, problems, and it's about discussing with the community. We've seen, children do so much better when teachers feel empowered, but also when parents are on the same page, and parents are working closely with us to make that difference in the classroom.
I've seen the community at Toddler's Den, and that all stems from the leadership, the faculty, from celebrating every festival occasion, celebrating Toddler's Den's yearly anniversaries. It has always been so special. It is like we are part of Toddler's Den, and that is what makes you feel, and I think that just stems from the emotion that comes from you and the faculty together.
And teachers feel empowered when the whole community also comes together and supports them, right? So whether it's parents, whether it's grandparents, we want them to also be a part of that journey.
How do you create a culture of continuous learning for your educator when they too are juggling things on their personal and professional front?
It's well planned into the calendar, but there's also a lot more that goes on beyond those planned dates. I think we definitely chalk out specific goals every year. Let's say this year we decided that we want to learn more about the Reggio Emilia approach and how that applies into our classroom, or we want to learn more about the math curriculum. So there will be very specific professional development days that are also communicated to parents, that these are the days when our teachers are working on their learning. But otherwise also every month we have a system of sort of reviewing the classes that we are doing. So throughout the year there is this constant reflection. We also have a lot of informal learning at school, such as observing each other's classrooms, maybe small team discussions, and creating roadmaps to solve smaller, regular issues. Absolutely. So I think professional development and learning is ongoing. Reflection is a process that continues, and that's something that sometimes the traditional system didn't have. Traditionally a teacher just came, taught her lesson, and more or less went home. But those extra hours that we put in just talking about children, talking about how did this class go, what can be better tomorrow, that's just a mindset that we have at work, and that sort of helps along with.
That also keeps in, it works in conjunction with the fact that the curriculums have changed.
Yes.
So this is more individual based, so it has to be a little more personalized. What have been some of your own behind the strength moments, especially times when you had to show up to be strong as both a mother and a leader?
Every day is a day when I have to show up being a mother and a leader, right from the morning when I wake up and I have to, get her ready for school and also focus on all of my things to do. But I would say the most beautiful part is that my daughter is a part of this journey very closely with me, because she's at school with me. And I would say my two strengths would be my mother and mother-in-law, who have been the support. They are the one behind my strength, and I think the support that they give me every day, saying we are here for you, we want you to go back to work, we'll take care of everything at home. I think that kind of support has given me the strength to be an anchor, a guide, a mentor, show up every day at work with the same calmness in that chaos for my team. And that's why my team looks at me and says, you're, the mother of the ship right here at work as well. And so there's, the same mother role at work and back at home. And that's only possible with the support of
the other moms.
The other moms.
So moms all the way.
Absolutely.
What does balance look like to you, and how do you redefine it in your own way?
Yeah. I think balance to me over time, I've realized, is just giving your 100% where you are. So yes, there might be tons of things on your mind, but I do take the time to just really prioritize and say, okay, this is my time at work, I'm going to really focus on this, and I know that I have that support system back at home. And when I'm at home, I've really learned over the years to say, this is my quality time to be with my family, to be with my daughter, and that's really helped me. I think before having a child, we didn't really have to think about, I had all day long to sort of only be working, but now it's really important to, prioritize and give that time.
That's right. It's very important to make sure that you've got a checklist, and you have to make sure that all those boxes are ticked, but while keeping your own sanity.
Yeah. And the last and most important on the checklist would be finding time for myself. That's work in progress.
What kind of learners and human beings do you hope to shape through your work?
I think kind, compassionate,
Most important.
curious. That's, I think, if they are kind, compassionate, and curious, respectful to others, everyone around them, that's, I've done my job. And if they can continue a journey of learning that they love in whatever school that they might be, being good human beings, we've done our job.
Yeah. What's the one value you hope your own child learns, by watching you, by seeing how much you're doing in a day?
I think that, when I made the decision to go back to work, I went to ask many moms around me saying, when is the right time to go back to work? Or did you spend more time at home with your child and not go? And every mother had a different story. Somebody said that, I've not worked for the first 10 years because I spent all my time with my child. Somebody said that, no, I went back to work in just 3 months and that's what I did. So every mother does what they think is best and wants that, that's your child to be learning that. For me, as soon as I found out and realized that work is a big part of my identity, I knew that I want my daughter to learn that, you can balance your personal wishes along with all of the multiple roles that you play in life. So just, focusing on yourself while playing all of the multiple roles that you do. If she could learn that.
If you had to give a message to mothers who are also educators or professionals, what would you want them to know about motherhood?
I think motherhood is the most beautiful spiritual journey that I've gone through, like I said before, about teaching your child about, faith, love, religion, respect, about teaching your child values that you have had as a child. It's such a deeply reflective journey where you have to go back and think about, this is what it was in my childhood. Do I really want that for my child, or do I not want that for my child? I think they say it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village to support mothers in their journey. And I think I would tell all mothers that it's okay to take support from everyone around you, and it is the community that will help you to go ahead and achieve your dreams and do the things that you want to do. So, take that support from your mother, your mother-in-law, your family, people at work. Don't hesitate to ask for things that you need to get through those first few years of motherhood, to make sure that you don't compromise on your own values, your own wishes, while also pursuing motherhood, so that you make sure that you keep your own identity as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When it comes to, of course, the space that you have been leading, Toddler's Den, there was a community of women handling the place. They're still very much existent. It's coexisting. Motherhood became not, of course, it wouldn't be cakewalk, but it became easier. There are spaces where these things don't exist. You don't have that kind of community.
Yes.
What would you suggest, for those schools or those institutions where the mother does not get that kind of support, especially in the first formative years of her child's birth?
Yeah.
What can they do to make it easier on the mom?
Yeah. I think I would say two things. One is, don't feel afraid to speak up and, try to share your opinion, try to share your perspective, so that you can get a chance to, get back to work full time with the support that you need from your workplace. But I'll also say, it's okay if you can't get back soon enough, and don't rush back. Just focus on that time as a mother. They say these years don't come back, so it's okay to also start slowly. It's okay to take a little longer before you get back to work if you had to just spend that time with your child, because these years don't really come back. Yeah.
And how do you think a school could probably support on that end, or an institution?
I think schools, institutions should definitely have the flexibility to be, providing different working hours, but also systems where they can have a daycare, some kind of a room where children can be in the same space as a mother. That would really, really make a huge difference. If every organization had a space where children could also be a part of this experience, then, women would get back to work much sooner and be happier, stronger individuals.
Be much happier mums. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Pooja, for sharing your story, for sharing your moments behind your strength, for all the transformational journeys that you've had, and you have actually helped evolve so many children into such beautiful little human beings going into bigger spaces. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.